Hi, welcome to integrating a client portal with a documentation portal to improve customer experience. My name is Dana Aubin. I live in Colorado and I work for Allscripts. I'm a full-time writer and I'm the backup administrator for the product documentation portal. I'm part of the technical writing team and I'm part of the technical team that implemented the documentation portal. In addition to uploading content, I answer questions from writers about adding content and from users about finding content. I update the taxonomy, our products and versions. I maintain the synonyms list, and I work directly with the vendor to resolve defects and implement new features. Also, I love dogs, and so that's my dog Ben on the left, and then my friend's dogs that often stay at my house on the right. A little about my company. I work for Allscripts, as I said. We're an international healthcare IT company, and we're one of the top electronic healthcare companies for hospitals and ambulatory. We have clients in 15 countries. I'm on the HHS technical publications team, and we have 28 team members in both the US and Canada, but we support additional writers throughout the company, and everyone uses the documentation portal to upload content. We are also lucky enough to have an information architect, a CMS administrator, a full-time product documentation portal administrator, and a backup documentation portal admin. We're all technical writers and everyone writes, including the director and the 3 managers on our team. At the same time that my team was changing vendors for a new product documentation portal, our IT team was changing platforms for the Client Hub. And Google Search Appliance, which was used in the old Client Hub, was going away. These changes occurring concurrently gave us a unique opportunity to integrate tightly before rolling out the new Client Hub and the new documentation portal. And before I dive into the integration, I just wanted to quickly show you what Allscripts Central looks like and our new product documentation portal so that the integration information is a little bit more meaningful. This is the landing page for Allscripts Central, and Allscripts Central is our client hub where clients can access everything they need for Allscripts software. They download the software here, they access the product documentation, they get support by searching knowledge base articles, entering support tickets, they access the Learning Center for training here, and they interact with other clients in the communities. They can also sign up for product alerts. And it's built with ServiceNow communities, and each of the areas I mentioned is a spoke of the Allscripts Central Hub. This is the landing page for our product documentation portal. And the portal is built with Zoomin and offers personalized documentation, a topic-based search, and full publications, and a publication search. The majority of our content is authored in DITA, in Oxygen, and we use Ixiasoft as our CMS. We publish directly from the CMS to the documentation portal using transforms created by our information architect. For some product lines, we have a night build to bulk upload the full documentation set to the doc portal. For content authored outside the CMS, which is mostly PDFs, we upload those using an FTP site. As for the personalized documentation, our clients can set preferences to see only their products on the documentation homepage. They can subscribe to notifications about updated documentation, and they can create custom libraries to organize their content. And this just shows the custom preferences on the landing page. Also, in addition to the tiles that are there, setting your preferences limits the number of items you see in the product list that we use for search. And it's really helpful for clients to be able to set their preferences and limit the number of products they see, because we have over 100 products and over 200,000 topics in the documentation portal. And yes, this is meant to be an eye chart. You don't have to read all those products. So when clients click the tiles on the home page, it takes them to tiles that have the versions for that product, and they can click the version that they want to go to the results pages. And that gets them through the process quickly. They can also, when they search, use filters. Clients can subscribe to notifications for updated content, and they'll receive a weekly email digest with links to the updated content. In the future, we have an enhancement coming where they'll be able to not only subscribe to updated content, but they'll be able to subscribe to a product and version to get updates when new content is posted. Clients can also create custom libraries, and this is equivalent to favorites in some other apps, and then they can output these as a PDF. Another thing that they can do is they can use these favorites to build their own guides. And one thing about our clients is that the people who use the documentation portal are mostly IT staff and super users. End users really don't access the documentation portal. They're doctors, nurses, pharmacists. They really don't spend a lot of time looking at the documentation. It's used mostly for training them and then for configuration. And many times in the past, clients would take our guides and then copy and paste them into their own Word guides so that they could create custom documentation and training that they posted to their hospital's intranet. Having this feature was a big deal for us and a big deal for our clients because now they can easily create those guides using our content. It comes out formatted. It looks wonderful. The topic-based search is like a Google search, so clients can search across publications and bring back targeted search results. They can filter the search results by the product, version, and documentation type. When they click a search result, the table of contents of the guide that the page belongs to is displayed on the left, and then they can download a PDF of the full publication of just that page or the section that it's in. There's also another way to access the PDFs and full guides, which I'll talk about more later. So if customers want to get the full guides or services support, they know that a guide is out there, they've used it before, and they want that, they know the title of the guide that they want. They can easily navigate to the Allscripts Library, which is available from the banner by clicking the book icon. And that will show them all of the publications that we have. So, and then they can filter that by the product, the version, whether it's employees or clients. If they're internal, they can see whether it's employees or clients, the documentation type. So that's really helpful to still offer that. If it is a help publication, a data publication, they can go to the page like you saw earlier with the topic based to see the full guide, and they can download the PDF from there. So from the very beginning, like I said, when we were designing the new documentation portal, we were looking at ways to integrate with the Client Hub. We wanted easier access to the documentation, single sign-on, the ability to set preferences in one place, and a federated search that searches across the Client Hub and the Documentation Hub. And just a note that we trained employees and clients both on the documentation portal as part of our Client Hub training. So we wanted clients to easily be able to access the product documentation from the landing page of Allscripts Central. And we were able to incorporate one-click access to the documentation portal with a button. And then also we added documentation and release notes on the product menu to give clients direct access to their most requested documentation type. They love release notes. Single sign-on gives clients who've signed on to the portal access to the product documentation portal without having to sign on again. Without single sign-on, this step would be necessary because our documentation is hosted externally on our vendor server. And we worked with our IT team and our vendor to implement the single sign-on. Our internal users use our corporate logon, and our clients use their services email. And then our documentation portal and the Allscripts Hub recognize users as a client or employee, and so that role determines what they can see and allows us in the documentation portal to post internal and external documents to the same place. Single sign-on also gave us the opportunity to share preferences between Allscripts Central and the documentation portal. Preferences can be set in the Client Hub, and out-of-the-box functionality in the Zoomin tool also lets users set preferences. So instead of having users set their preferences in two places, our IT team worked closely with Zoomin to set the preferences from Allscripts Central and have those passed on to the documentation portal with the SSO authentication. We maintain the taxonomy for products and versions in the CMS, Allscripts Central, and Zoomin with an XML file, and we also control the version tiles that exist on the landing page with another XML file. We're now using Coveo as the federated search tool in Allscripts Central, and like I said, this replaced Google. So when they search at the top of the Allscripts Central landing page or from any page of any spoke in the portal, they will get results for the product documentation, knowledge base articles from services and support, forum discussions from clients, and the product documentation is re-indexed in Coveo whenever the content is added or deleted, and so the search in Coveo stays up to date. And this is great because previously in our old portal, when people searched for knowledge articles, they just saw, or when they searched for help, they were just seeing the knowledge articles. But now, when they search for those knowledge articles, they're also getting those hits from the topic-based documentation that may answer their results, so they don't even have to enter a ticket. When they're in the federated search and they get the search results, if they have products selected as their preferences, it will limit the search results to those products. Of course, they can always go out and see any product that they want, but those are what will be displayed in the search results. They can limit the search to the product documentation, and they can view the type and the product. Our documentation from the product documentation portal is also displayed in our ServiceNow site that services and support use. So after the rollout of the Allscripts Central Hub and the new documentation portal, we continued to gather feedback from our clients. And we found some things that were a bit surprising to us, like clients use the search in different places with different experience. We actually knew that. We didn't realize how much that would affect users. That's something that we're working to fix. Clients use the federated search in Allscripts Central more than expected. And in fact, some clients and internal users, despite the training that we did not realize that we had a separate documentation portal. The filters in Allscripts Central are not as robust as those in our documentation portal. And the documentation portal has a lot more features for printing as PDF, for creating your custom libraries. And so clients were missing out on that content, or those features, sorry. The federated search didn't have filters for the release in the beginning or for documentation types. And our users still really want the PDFs. Old habits die hard. From the beginning, we gathered client feedback through emails to product documentation, support tickets, internal feedback from employees who interact with clients, from internal employees who use the portal, talking to individual clients, and from customer surveys. And when we rolled out the new Allscripts Central Hub, we started investigating how we can use analytics to improve our clients' experience with the product documentation. What are they searching for? What are they finding? What's their most accessed content? What content they've not accessed? Are they engaging with the content? Are they adding it to their custom libraries? Are they spending time on the page? Are they sending us feedback? So in January 2020, we were able to start accessing search analytics from Coveo. These were search analytics from the client hub, not from the documentation portal. And they were really at a high level. They helped us see what documentation was being accessed the most, but there was no way to really filter that down. All of our stuff is posted by the doc ID, by the map ID. So it was really difficult to try to search down and see, okay, what topics are being used in which book. You'd have to go in and search for each of those things. Luckily, our vendor was working on analytics dashboards, and in April of 2020, they provided us with search and traffic dashboards for the documentation portal specifically. And these showed us what clients are searching for, what they're searching for but not finding because there are no results, or they're not clicking on something, maybe that the description that they saw, the little preview, didn't seem like it met their needs. In May of 2020, we got access to Google Analytics from our IT team. And that gathered very limited data. We can't section that data by internal users versus external users. We are able to view the titles of topics and guides and to search that way to see which guides are being used the most. But we weren't able to see which guides are used the least, or really a lot of in-depth information. We still found it very helpful because in the spring we lost about half of our documentation team. We used to have a bit over 50 writers. Like I said in the beginning, now we have 28. So being able to get some analytics to see which products were getting documentation hits really helped us to focus our documentation efforts. Also, we were very on our own to figure out, IT showed us how to get to Google Analytics and how to get to our data, but they really didn't show us how to work with that data, how to do anything with it. But we are lucky that we have a great vendor, and that, again, they're working on analytics, and they rolled out a content analytics for us just this month. And so they are everything. It's wonderful. It really validated the insights that we were able to gather from Google Analytics, but it's so much easier to use. It's just, we don't have to try to figure out how to analyze the data. They've already done it for us, broken stuff down into the things that you might want to see. And it also shows us what clients are not accessing, which is something that we couldn't see in Google or Coveo, and I'm not aware if you can do that using any other analytics tool. The configuration guides and release notes really are the top documents that clients want. This is what they tell us. This is what we saw in Google Analytics, but that was just really supported once we could see the content analytics. And the data from most widgets in the analytics dashboard from the vendor can be downloaded as spreadsheets, which was really helpful to provide reports to management. And I just wanted to show you some of the analytics dashboards that we have in our vendors tool, because they're so wonderful. so helpful, and we're really digging into these and figuring out how we can use them to answer the questions that we have about our clients and the content that they need, and how to make the client experience better. So this is just the search dashboard, a little bit more of the search dashboard. You can see what they're searching for the most, search popularities, things that they're searching for that they're not clicking any results for. And we can also see searches that have no results. Content dashboard shows us how many topics we have. And we have a lot of content. We just deleted about 30,000 topics over the last week or so. So content has gone down a bit. We can also see the content pages viewed. We can see the pages not viewed. Again, that's really helpful to help us know maybe guides that we don't need to keep out there, guides that we don't need to spend time on with our limited resources. And we also are using the analytics to improve the doc portal search and the Coveo search using synonyms. We're adding synonyms using Elasticsearch to the doc portal, and we're also sharing the synonyms with Coveo. We've also made some improvements to the federated search and the search results page in Allscripts Central. So one example is that when users select product documentation as the source, the configuration guides and release notes are weighted higher than other documentation. We've also made a few improvements to make it match more closely with the search results page in the doc portal, so presenting a more consistent experience with search results. Our future plans are to add some new documentation portal features. I mentioned before that we have plans to add subscribing to product versions so users can receive notifications when new content is posted, not just when it's updated. We're doing more integration. Our vendor is working to develop ServiceNow integration, so we may be able to use that for our internal users. We're looking into adding widgets to our Allscripts Central landing page, like personalized product documentation content. Maybe you see the top hits for the products that you're subscribed to. Maybe you see your custom libraries, and also alerts for when content, a widget for alerts to let you know when content has been added or updated. We're gathering more client feedback, doing surveys, talking to clients. We're gathering more information from our analytics. We're getting better and better at doing that. It is new for us. And our IT team is also working to map the customer journey throughout the Allscripts Central Hub and its spokes, and that will be really useful for us. We're doing more fine-tuning of the federated search. And we're consolidating the list of doc types so that it's easier for clients to understand those. We're also working to make the list of products a little simpler in the client. In the Allscripts Central Hub, the preferences have a few extra things that are confusing to clients, like multiple selections for one product. So we're working to get those consolidated so that it's easier for clients. And so in summary, what we've learned about client experience and integrating our portals is that customer experience is an ongoing process, and we need to keep working at it. We need to keep gathering feedback, but it's really paying off in the satisfaction of internal and external customers and using the product documentation portal. Thank you for attending my presentation.